Today's conversation is one I've been really looking forward to. See, we had full intentions in diving into the topic of burnout, but something else amazing happened. We decided to go authentic and vulnerable because, hey, God had different plans, and so this interview is for the one who really needs it at the moment. So, my guest today, Ioni Papadakis, she's a Greek Canadian entrepreneur and the founder of Nine Elephants Consulting, where she helps online business owners build and grow through power of self leadership and emotional intelligence. Ione's story is nothing short of powerful, though. At just age 17, she left home, moved to another country alone, and built a new life from the ground up. She battled depression, she faced discrimination, she climbed her way out of $50,000 in debt, all before becoming a national manager, where she actually oversaw more than 100 people and eventually became the founder of her own consulting firm, serving clients around the world. What I love about her journey is that it's just not about success. It's about the transformation that happens when you refuse to give up on yourself. She's living proof that perseverance, purpose, and self leadership can turn into a beautiful story. Beauty from ashes, if you will. So today, we're going to leave inspired, understanding that no matter the circumstances you find yourself in life, there's a way up. There's a way up, as long as you don't give up. Ione, welcome to the show. We are so glad you're here.
So happy to be here and to finally be having this conversation.
Mm. So we chatted before. We got to know each other a little bit and our stories and found some similarities, which was really awesome. And I think that's really important is the connection, especially, you and I, we both have clients that we deal with burnout. We get them facing the hard stuff because we've been through it. We know we've been down that road. And so it just makes it more impactful, which is so awesome. And so, starting off, you lived a life of incredible transformation, right? Leaving home at 17. I mean, that's a young age. That's at first glance is like, man, that's a go-getter, but there's a story behind it, of course. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah. Um, it's funny you started with this topic because recently, actually last week, my mom sent me the photo she took outside of her house in Athens the day that I flew to Canada. So I'm Greek Canadian. I have a Canadian passport, but I have a Greek heritage. And while we were in Canada when I was a baby, my mom left my father in Canada, and with my brother, we moved back to Greece. So at age 17, the decision was made for me to come back to Canada to study in Eastern Canada. Um, the decision was made for me because I didn't really have a say.
Hmm.
Um, However, it was perhaps the the hardest and the best decision that anybody could have taken for me. Um, they sent me essentially to school, to university in New Brunswick. The plan was to finish 4 years of university and then eventually to continue my studies in Europe or continue my career in Europe. That never happened because when you send a 17-year-old overseas, although I was Canadian, the culture differences were so stark that I started from ground zero. I was at
Hmm.
17, I was extroverted. I had transformed from a completely shy kid to now this teenager who's extroverted, full of life, positive. I was a basketball player. I had the group of kids that was like the cool kids. I was also friends with the nerds. I had my circle. I had some type of brand, right, as a teenager.
Hmm.
Now you throw this teenager in a completely different environment and everything, and by herself. I was also by myself. And everything completely changes. You start from ground zero to create your circle. And that kind of put me into the epicenter um, of being seen as different, of being treated also as different. And the first feelings and the first behaviors of, I would say, I wouldn't call it burnout because that's not a burnout. It doesn't qualify, but the first behaviors of the things that actually lead to a burnout. You're trying to overachieve, you're trying to perform. And
Right.
that was the initial experience, just to.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about the culture change. You said it was a little bit difficult. Now, was it just mainly basically difficult on a personal level, like just like you were talking about, you were had this culture, your friends, and then it was different. Like I don't know, can I go into that a little bit more? Like, was it more just like, well,
Yeah.
I guess what I'm saying is, was it more cultural challenging because of the demographic areas that you were at, or was it just more just personal because you didn't know anybody?
Yeah, I love that question because all of those things, and I'll answer your question, but all of these
Hmm.
factors, the demographic changes. I came from the capital of Greece, which is 5 million people, to now a small town in Eastern Canada, Eastern Atlantic Canada. Now you have, again, capital of Greece. I'm there, this in this cosmopolitan city. That was my life as a teenager, to now into basically a small village, which is not a bad thing, but it is a different mindset. And because I was so new and so different to the culture of that smaller town, small town culture and behavior, now you're put into you're put in a place to become a different person, to overperform, like I said, to build from the ground up. And those parallels are very similar to the burnout that we experience at the office and also in life through chronic stressors that do not have to do with professional, through professional environments. But that was kind of the beginning. That was the beginning of experiencing depression, experiencing
Mm.
that overperformance, that over just being out of your elements led me to experiencing depression for the first time, and to not knowing how to ask for help, because, and not to answer your question, because um, the culture I came from, and maybe this applies to people who identify with more than one culture, more than the American or the Canadian culture, more than the North American culture, that they have other multiple backgrounds. We do not open up at home
Mm.
in Greece. I mean, home is also here, Canada, Montreal, but from my Greek upbringing and a lot of Europeans or maybe Latin Americans, we do not open up outside of the house. We feel shame sharing what's going on. What happens at home stays at home. It's like what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. That's the same thing.
Mhm. Yeah, I was thinking about that too when you said that. I was like, man, going to a different area, you don't really know people. So then you got that aspect of it too, that you don't feel comfortable because you don't really know the culture. The culture's different. You don't really know people. But then yeah, you said your Greek culture too is more just like, oh, keep it to yourself. And so I can see how that compounding could just really, that leads me into what I was talking about. Like a lot of the times prior to burnout, we get in this mode of I'm fine, I'm okay, nothing's wrong. That's it's adult age or whatever that's called, to where people are just like, I'm just busy. It's okay. I got it handled. And so it really starts to compound on the back end of going into depression, going into these the situations like that. And man, then yeah, you said the cultural change too, like having that we keep our mouth shut, we don't talk about it outside the home. Like, man, that's a big burden to bury or to carry for sure. Um,
If you allow me, Chris, to add something about
yeah.
the fine, the oh, nothing's wrong. I think there's two factors here. And now we're talking obviously about my experience as a 17-year-old, but there are more stories of burnout in my adulthood. But the I'm fine and I'm good also stems from lack of awareness. We don't know what we're going through. So these
Mm,
conversations and this platform that you're having here, spreading awareness about what is burnout, how does it manifest through different seasons in our life, whether that is literally switching environments. That could be for someone moving overseas, but it could be moving to a different town that has a different culture. It's not just because I moved countries. It could be
right.
moving from Idaho to New York. It could be from moving from Montreal to Cali. I don't know.
Mm,
So it could be. So number one is self-awareness, is understanding that this is the beginning of a burnout. That is the beginning of mental health, some mental health challenges, whether it's anxiety, depression. whether it is self-isolation. So I think the first step is self-awareness, which I personally did not have. I was not raised with that awareness. I did not know what depression is. I did not know what burnout is. I did not,
Mm.
well, nobody spoke to me about them. That's why, and that is why I love the platform that you've created, because it spreads awareness, not just between you and I in our generation, but younger generations of entrepreneurs, business people, professionals as well. Because in order to fix something, that the curve of change that we speak in management and psychology, we require awareness, which you very well know because you develop
Yep.
it. So awareness was number one. Number two, I needed the tools. So personally, at that age, at that young age, I did not know how to ask for help. I
Mm.
saw my mom, and I think a lot of us can relate, and I think you relate. I saw my mom, the single parent in my household, which was a single leader, do everything herself. A lot of us are raised in single parent households, and we see our one parent do everything,
Mhm.
whether because it's the other parent is abusing them, or whether because they don't have the means or resources, or that is their culture. And I saw my mom do everything and anything. She was the mom and the dad. She never asked for help. So that's what I thought I should do. I thought I should be an independent woman. And that was also during those
Mm.
times of the 90s and the 2000s. That was like the cool thing to be an independent
Mhm.
woman. And that's what I
Right.
thought I should be. So awareness was lacking, tools were lacking. Perfect
Right.
recipe for disaster.
Yeah. No, I'm glad you brought that up because it does that does happen. It's we put on that identity based upon our environment and then subconsciously we run off of that. That's just it continues to compound over time and we just it becomes what we do, what we know. And I'm glad you said that. Um, so kind of skipping forward a little bit, uh, you mentioned the emotional intelligence played a big role in your journey. And so, how did that discovery shift the way you viewed yourself and your circumstances? And did it happen back then when you were younger, or was this more later on in life? Like,
Yeah, that's I love the topic of emotional intelligence, and maybe first we should define what it is.
yes,
Um,
please do that.
that it is essentially when what you believe, what you value is in congruence with your actions and how you show up in the world. Um, well, I just essentially described self-leadership here, but I had in mind self-leadership, but to have the emotional intelligence to show up with self-leadership, you
Mm,
need to be aware of your emotions. You need to be able to manage your emotions, and you need to be aware and to be able to manage, know the tools to manage the emotions as they pertain to others. I mean, that is emotional
mhm.
intelligence. I had in my mind self-leadership.
No, they
And
go hand in hand, really. I mean, you have to have the emotional intelligence, have the emotional leadership.
totally.
Yeah.
And to be quite frank, without one, you don't have the other. Without the other, you don't have the other. Um, to be able to become aware of what my situation was, to be able to ask for help, I needed first to know, where do I want to get? Who do I want to be? So we first need to have conversations about, who do I want to become? How, you know, what are your values? What is it that drives you? And what is your compass? What is your GPS? Where are you headed? And I had to discover all of that through, I ended up discovering by luck, to be honest, by when I was secluded and isolating. I didn't know what the heck was going on because I was hiding in libraries and I came across leadership books. I mean, you can see I read, this is not a fake background. And books saved me, and specifically leadership books saved me because they taught me what it means to how they gave me the tools to manage my emotions, speaking about emotional intelligence, and they taught me the tools to manage my emotions as it pertains to other people. So for me to be able to ask for help, I had to learn, first of all, what is it that what I'm feeling, and I had to find the tools to be able to ask something from someone without a putting them in an awkward position, b
Mm,
without becoming a burden on them, because not everybody has the capacity to support, and C, knowing how to also navigate those waters without losing my self dignity, and also without giving up my power. And that is emotional intelligence. Managing, being aware and managing of your emotions, and being aware and managing of the emotions that are created interpersonally. And that's what leadership did for me. It taught me all of that. And it sounds like, oh yeah, but how? You just read a book. Through multiple books. Yeah, and that's so important. It's so important. And we can, it is a tool that anyone can use, anyone can read on and get exposed to, whether it's from YouTube, from books, however you like to learn, to be able to manage those dark times that we go through.
Mhm. Sorry, I was looking away because I had some notes on the side too.
No,
I
that's
could
fine.
have swore, I
I was
could
like,
have
is the
swore,
sound going?
no, I could have swore I read somewhere that you read how many books you'd read. It was an astounding amount.
Yeah, you've done your research, huh? You've done your
Yes,
research. Yeah,
yes,
there was many years in my 20s where my goal was to read 4 books in a month. So yes, I read a lot of books.
yes. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah.
So,
My mom is the same. She's an author. So yeah.
oh, okay, nice. How many books have you written?
Honestly, I have written down my goal. I think that's maybe, honestly, it's a lot of books.
Yeah.
You, I don't want to be like people like
No,
then are trying to fact check. You said this, you didn't say this.
no, you're good. You're
Okay,
good.
I have
Yeah.
it. I have a goal list that I need.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wrote one, and it's a short one, but it's a start,
Wait, you
right?
said read or wrote? Read. You said read.
Read, or no, wrote.
I haven't written any book. Okay.
Oh, you haven't written one yet. Okay.
Written. You said
Written. Yes, written.
no, written. I have read.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you've read a lot. Yes,
Yeah, yeah, that's what
absolutely.
I was trying to.
No, I
Yeah.
was wondering if you've written any yet.
No, 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 no,
No. Okay.
no, no. I'm not there
No.
yet. No.
All right. You'll get maybe you get there, right? That's cool. Your mom's an author though. Okay. So I want to jump off the script of these questions. I want to know more about your growth period when you ended up in Canada, 17. Like walk us through like the next decade, your transformation, what happened for you. I want to hear your story because I love it.
Okay. But if I cry, you better be handing me some napkins.
Uh, shoot.
Overseas.
No, that's
Okay.
good. The raw emotions is good, right? Emotional intelligence. You got to be in tune with these emotions. I love it.
Yeah. And you're making the conversation feel very safe, both your energy and just how you
Good.
preface a lot of the questions. So
Awesome.
yeah. I'm gonna try and summarize. Essentially, arrive in Canada with the culture of a very cosmopolitan girl, extroverted girl in a small town. I am also very different. People see me as very exotic. I don't mix. I don't look like a local, so people treat me differently. I also sound different. I had a thicker accent back then, because at home we would speak Greek and Greeklish. Okay, so but when I moved,
Greeklish.
yeah, Greeklish,
What is Greeklish?
Greek and English.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. I love that. I love that.
It's like Spanglish, right? In the US.
Mhm.
So now you are there in this different environment. I am starting life from zero. I'm starting my brand from zero, in a sense, who I am, who I'm associated with, at the same time, trying to study for school. However, I started when I moved to a completely different country. I was this very happy person, this very excited for life person, but I was also a big people pleaser, which I want to make a parenthesis. I believe in my um, non-scientific experience that people pleasing is one of the reasons of burnout, which has their root in good intentions. So people pleasing manifested in wanting to be there for anyone and everyone, because again, I was establishing my brand. I'm calling it a brand now, but at the time we weren't calling that. I'm just establishing my circle of friends, right? And also I was dealing with a lot of conflict from my family. So although it was transatlantic, I was always from a very young age, the youngest in my family, but also the one in the family that would advise the adults in my family. because of conflict. There was always conflict, unfortunately, but there were also great moments. So that eventually took a toll on me. I got so sick, literally physically sick, to the point it sent me to the hospital. From stress, it hits literally. Um, I was sent to the hospital my third year of university, because people would call me at 5 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, fix this. You talk to mom, you talk to my husband, you talk to your mother. Like, it was insane. And I was the receiver of all of that. I didn't know how to set boundaries as a young girl, as a teen, as a 20. I was now 20, in my 20s. I didn't know how to do that. Sent me to the hospital, literally. I racked up a very nice and generous debt from the hospital. Once I was out of the hospital, I couldn't return to school because I had missed a lot of time, that it was just impossible for me to finish that semester. That led me to move to Ottawa, Canada, the capital of Canada, during the middle of crazy winter. Winters in Idaho, but Canadian winter, let me tell you, it can range from minus 20, minus 13 to minus 22 with the
Oh
wind chill.
yeah.
I'm speaking Fahrenheit, not Celsius.
Mm.
So we're talking crazy winters that I had nobody there, so I had no money. I almost got a frostbite, and I remember the specific moment. I was walking in the snow. The snow was still my knees, and I was crying from the cold. That it was so cold that it felt like my feet were burning. If you've ever gotten a frostbite, that I finally made it to the apartment that I was renting, that I had no bed and I was sleeping on the floor. I made a promise to myself that I will never have kids until I'm able to raise them properly with the right resources. Fast forward to when I moved to Montreal, things kind of took really a downturn because I still had no money, no support. It was impossible for me to find a job. And things got so bad that, again, outside the outside world, I was this happy, positive, excited person. Things got so bad when you don't have money to pay your rent or your phone bill, that when I was applying for jobs, nobody could actually call me because my phone bill was cut off. You can stop me if I'm going too far into detail.
No, no, I enjoy it.
Phone bill
Keep
was cut
going.
off. You can tell me, yeah, phone bill is cut off. Nobody can actually call me for interviews, for job interviews, because I have no phone. I'm about to be homeless at this point. I'm about to get kicked out. Rent is overdue, way overdue for months, and I'm about to get kicked out. For a night, I've packed up and I slept outside. Now, you're a young girl, you're a girl, first of all, in a big city. You can imagine
Mm.
the dangers. Thankfully, thank Lord, he was guiding me and protecting me at all times. Nothing happened to me. And I would steal ketchup from McDonald's to eat for lunch. I would go to different McDonald's and I would pretend I had bought a burger, and I would say, "Oh yeah, yeah, ketchup, ketchup," and they would just give me packets of ketchup, and that was my lunch. I would look on the floor in the streets to see if I could find any quarters, because at the time, Dollarama, the dollar store here in Canada, you could buy 4 packets of noodles with $1. So I would just do stuff like that. It was impossible for me to get a job. It was like a vicious circle, vicious circle.
Mm.
Again, that was when I was hiding myself in the library. That's when I found leadership. That was early 20s. Eventually, I reached rock bottom. I did want to take my life. Thankfully, it didn't happen. I'm getting a little choked up. At the time, I felt so alone. I felt so unseen. Nobody would see my potential. I was such a hardworking kid since I worked since I was 12, but nobody would give me a job. Um, Honest, hardworking kid, but nobody would see my potential. Nobody would give me a chance. And I wish I had some guidance. And I wish I had a father in my life to give me that guidance. Although he's alive, he was never present. And that led me to reach complete rock bottom, where the devil, I would whoever believes, whoever doesn't, but really the
Mhm.
enemy would sit on one side and convince you they're just do Just sell your body just for one night. Just one night. Just do it. Do it. Just do it. It was so easy. I came so close to the opportunity to do that. People were asking. I was a beautiful, beautiful young girl. Thank God I never did. And that's why I do not judge people who have, fallen into that trap, because it is so easy to do that when you're starving, when you have no roof.
No, I'm
That,
grateful you're sharing this. I really am, because the truth is, I shared some of my story with you. Probably not as bad as yours, but we all have our issues. We all have our stuff that we struggle through, right? And I think a lot of people, like you were talking about the realness of it. Well, I think a lot of people go through that. I think a lot of people, have these circumstances in their life that just suck, but they don't know who, like, it's hard to reach out. It's hard because the enemy, absolutely agree about the enemy, likes to attack and say, you're the only one going through this. You're the only person that's dealing with this situation. You're the only person. And so, it's beautiful that you can open up and talk about that, because it's real. It's honest. It's inspiring for those that are listening, that hey, they're thinking, I'm going through something like that. Like I feel like that. That's how I feel right now. Like I've been there. I've been on the bridge. I'm glad I didn't jump.
yeah,
You
yeah,
know, it's real. The enemy attacks, and you know, I commend you so much for sharing that. I really do. And I want you to continue, but I just want to stop there for a minute and say that, because I know somebody's listening right now that they're going through something like that. Like they're losing hope. They're in a bad spot. And so as we continue with your story, they're going to continue to see that no, it can be different. There's possibilities. So go ahead, continue. Sorry.
yeah. Thank you for doing that. And I also just want to acknowledge how I felt, although we're so far away, that you almost extended an arm and just gave a hug just by doing that. Because yeah,
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah, I felt like you did that. Yeah, so um I did not do that, and I am yeah, so that was, it is hard to talk about this story because it was like yesterday. I remember, I'll give you the story and I'll continue. There is a happy ending, I promise. There's a happy ending to our story. Um, a very a moment that I will never forget, and a moment that really defined what I'm capable of, and 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 just to give hope to whoever is going through it, that you can get out of the shithole that you might be without, especially for young women, without letting anybody take advantage of you physically or emotionally, because that's the easiest way, especially you beautiful young women. And you are able to get out of it through the power of community, through the power of learning how to speak up, how to ask for help, how through the power of leadership, because leadership puts the mission and the goal before your ego. And at times the enemy allows the ego, which is our shame, the shame is also ego, to hide, to make you hide behind it, and to um, make you hide behind your pain and not ask for help because you're so ashamed. But God, the creator of the universe, did not create us to live in shame, but to thrive and to create and serve others. And you cannot do that if you live in shame, if you allow shame and the hardness of life to make you feel, that to make you defined by them. And that's what the ego does. The ego wants you to feel like you're defined by them, that you're shit, that you, I'm sorry for my language, that you are, that you're worth nothing, but it's not true. So going
Mhm.
back to our story, a moment that really defined me is a friend of mine at the time that I was going through it asked me to go get a drink. Again, young girls, you go out. I told her it's not in my budget, meaning in my head, I was broke. I didn't even have time. I didn't have money to eat, but I told her it was not in my budget. She said, "Oh, no problem. I'll come get you. We'll go together." I said, "You know what? I might as well just go out just to feel better." We go out to this bar, W Hotel, downtown Montreal. We're there. sitting down. She said she's gonna treat me that night. Okay, cool. She's one of my girls. We're sitting down, and she brought two other of her girlfriends. Beautiful, all of them done up. We're sitting down, and two gentlemen in their mid 40s, mid 50s, I don't know, middle-aged men. At the time, again, mind you, it was early 20s. They show up, and my girl, those two girls talk to them, and they get up and leave. Me, I'm naive. I don't know what's going on. I'm there talking. A couple of hours pass by. The two girls return back. And I'm like, oh, girls, where were you? Such night. Like, I was naive. Although I was a smart girl, I was naive about the world. They're like,
Mm.
literally, the response I get is, and the face was, how do you think I get this bag? I go to Concordia, which is a university here. I go to Concordia. How do you think I have this bag? I look at them. I'm like, what? I still have not catch. I'm not like catching, the drift. She's like,
Mm.
well, would you like me to hook you up? You can also do the same. And for a second, Chris, for a second, the enemy on one side of my shoulder said, just do it. You have no food. You have no money.
Mm.
You're in the streets. Just do it. Just one time. What's gonna look at them? And in that
Mm.
moment, I got up. I told my friend, I said, girl, I'm leaving. She's like, how are you gonna get home? I'm gonna take a cab, I told her. I had no money for a cab. I remember I was wearing these red high heels. I walked from downtown Montreal to where I used to live, which was Saint Michel, which is a long way to go walking. And I walked. And the reason why I remember what heels I was wearing is because my feet were bleeding that night because I walked
Mm.
all the way from downtown. It was over an hour and a half. I walked it at night because I was like, there's
Wow.
no way this will be my life. And the person that kept me going, the thought that kept me going at the time was my mom. I was like, there's no way I'm gonna do this to her. There's no way. There's no way.
Mm.
So
Good job.
forward, yeah, thank you. But it was also, I think, that God was protecting me. I think God was protecting me at all times. So many things could have happened.
Mm.
And fast forward, I was brought to my knees and I ended up calling this church. I had never thought of asking for help. I'm telling you, up until now, we're going years in. You're years in to the mess, to the darkness. You like drowning. You're like in this like pit that you
Mm.
cannot get out, this abyss that everybody outside thought I was the happiest girl because I was always smiling and positive and like making everybody happy, making everybody comfortable, the life of the party, the life of the get together.
Mm.
And something just happened to me. I said, I need to ask for help. So I started calling shelters. I'm like, can anybody just help me? Anybody. I need to eat. Like anybody, anyone. So it dawned on me to call the church, Greek church. I had no connection with the Greek community in Montreal. I didn't even think about it. Again, because I was raised not asking for help. I thought I had
Right.
to figure it out by myself. It sounds so dumb, but literally I remember myself. I didn't know that that is a possibility. I thought I had to figure it out myself. So I
Mm.
asked, cried. They told me, she's like, oh, I don't have job. She's like, oh, we're speaking Greek, broken Greek. She's like, I don't have jobs, my girl, my daughter. I don't have jobs. We don't have jobs here. Like, just can I call you tomorrow? I said, you can call me. I don't have a phone number. At the time, I was calling her from Gmail. There was a Gmail option to call free numbers in the US and Canada. So they helped me actually find a job at the place where I started as customer service. Before that, I was finding some part-time jobs. That's why I was able to get some money. But they finally helped me with referrals through a referral to get this job as a customer service agent, working the phones, doing the 4 to midnight shift. And from there, it's where I was able to get back on my feet, and some people believed in me, mentored me, but it was from there that I just gave it my all. I was coming to work as the best customer service agent you could be. I was learning everything. I was devouring all the information on YouTube and books. I was like, I'm gonna be
Mm.
the best. And through there, I finally moved my way up. I moved into team lead, national team lead, sales team lead, sales supervisor, customer care manager, national customer care manager, national sales manager, and that's it. It was day and nights. And within just a few years, I paid off all my debt, all my student debt, which in Canada, we have a crazy statistic. People pay off their student debt in the 40s, sometimes 50s. I paid it off within 4 years since the time I started this, the
Well, kudos to you because I'm still working on mine.
it's rough. I know, rough.
Yeah.
And also, I had a very entrepreneurial mind, like I said. So I was doing multiple other gigs on the side, being Airbnb host. Like I was just destroying it. As soon as somebody believed in me and I was able to get back on my feet, that was it. It was kind of like the beginning of the end. And helping others, because it's not just about the money that you have. It's also like helping my friends and family and sending money to my mom and just when you have the resources, people think that poverty is a badge of honor. Oh, you're poor. Like poverty, this might be a little controversial, is actually selfish. It sounds like, oh, how can you say this? You didn't choose to be poor. True, I didn't. I actually came from a pretty decent household. My mom is in arts and letters. Like I came from an educated background. However, where I kind of ended up in, all I could think about was how to survive, how to put a roof over my head, how to eat, again, myself. All the focus of my life was me, 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 me. And then
Mhm.
when you get out of it, when you allow yourself to build those resources back up, you remove yourself from being the source, the focus of your life. And then what became the next focus, how I'm going to help others, how I'm going to lift others. And that's why I'm not shy to say that my goal is to eventually I hit six figures. Like I think I did mention it. I hit six figures and I was able to help multiple people. Then I started my business and we're not at the six figures mark. We're in the up and down mark. But that is why my goal is to be more than comfortable. I'm not shy to say I want to be a millionaire, not just for me, but to be able to give back so that I have the ability to utilize my mind, my energy, my time, my resources, my connections to lift others up. That's
Mm.
what it does. Um,
Yeah, absolutely.
all right.
Sorry, my granddaughter's crying in the other room. um, so one thing I was really impressed with, I saw this, was you won Women of Impact Award. So
Yeah.
you go from 17 struggling on the streets to building yourself up into this leader, building yourself up into this entrepreneur, this person that has a I'm not going to quit mindset, which is fantastic. And you got this award. Like, tell me about that award. Like, how did that feel? I want to know the emotions that came with that award because you have to look back on what you went through. I mean, it's there, and so you have this sense of accomplishment. Like, it's
You
good
know,
to, so we have to celebrate these wins. We have to celebrate these wins because that's how we compound and that's how we do better. So I want to know how did that feel? Like, what was that emotion on that?
that is so funny. Actually, you can see it is there in the frame, but
Very nice.
but you know what's funny? You know why I'm laughing? Because first of all, two things can be true. Yes, I believe and I'm aware that we need to celebrate these milestones. One truth. Second truth, I don't believe I've made it. I mean, that was a great recognition in a point in time of that time that this incredible Montreal community recognized me for that. And I'm very grateful for them for being able to see that, what I do for clients and businesses. Um, at the same time, I'm laughing because at the time of the award, I actually posted a story on Instagram and I said, I don't feel 100% worthy of being called Women of Impact. And I said, I would love to do even more. I was saying how I would love to do even more to be able to be a continuous woman of impact because I don't always feel a woman of impact. And I got backlash from one of the organizers, actually, who felt
Hmm.
really offended. She said, well, if you don't feel you deserve it, you should have told me to give the award to someone else. And the other organizer was like, no, I know Ione. She's so crazy ambitious that she felt like she could be doing more. And now she's thinking of how to do more. So it's so interesting because I was so honored and humbled by that recognition. At the same time, I don't want to live in the past both in terms of what happened to me, in terms of the bad things, but also both in terms of the accomplishments. Because today, for me to continue to be a woman of impact and a woman of resilience and a leader that lifts other up and develops other leaders, I need to continue to live and breathe
Mm.
leadership and impact daily. So I don't want to live in the past, both for accomplishments and losses. So that's kind
Right.
of, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, no, I'm with you. I totally, but I see it as a stepping stone too. It's like you're on the journey, right?
Yeah, that's
Yes,
it.
you're on the journey because success isn't a destination.
Yeah.
Success is the journey. If you're stepping one foot in front of the other and you're doing better each time, then you're being successful. And that's how I view it totally.
Yeah.
Um, okay, so we went through you were late night customer care shift, went into global business. What was the biggest mindset shift that you had to make when you were leveling up like that? Like,
Mm.
if you can think back on that, like maybe it was just that snap, like this is what I need. This is what I need to do. And I know you kind of alluded to that through the process, but was there a specific time where you're just like, this is what I got to think. This is how I got to
Yeah,
act.
totally. I would say there's two in two different moments. The first one is from literally the first, from the darkest times in my 20s to really being able to get out of that hole to ask for help. That was the hardest. That was the hardest. Like to be able to ask for help, to be able to seek community, to be able to understand that there's something wrong with me. Wrong. There's nothing wrong with you, but there's something that you're going through because no, we're not broken. It's just life happens to you and we don't have the skills and tools. But in order for me, the turning point, the first turning point was, and what leadership taught me is that you're not a victim. You're in control of your life. Because I was mad at the world. I was mad at my father. He had and he has the means to put me through school without a loan, without loans. He had the means to house me. He had the means to provide for me. I was so mad at my mom that she didn't make better decisions, that she didn't know any better, and she sent me by myself without being equipped mentally or physically or financially in a completely different country. Although again, I am Canadian, I have a like Canadian citizenship, but she didn't prepare me. So I was mad at the world. I was mad at them. I was mad at my brother. I was mad at my brother because we have a rocky relationship and he wasn't there for me in the way I wanted. I was mad at the world that didn't see my potential. So I was so angry and I felt like a victim that everybody owed me, that I'm so that that life essentially handed me the wrong hand of cards. So leadership taught me, and the book that actually changed my life, the first one was How to Think and Grow Rich. It's a very cliche book, and people like thinking, oh, it's so
Mm.
cliche and cheesy. Um,
It's a good book.
it is
It's
a
a very good
great
book.
book. It's a great book, and it taught me the power of masterminding, which is essentially the seeds of learning to build a community. And that gave me permission to reach out and ask for help and find like-minded people. And the first shift, like I said, is turning from victim to victor. And although I wasn't a victor, now I was in control of both my mishaps, but also I was in control now of what I could build. And that happened through forgiveness.
Mm.
Forgiveness was the tool to forgive. Then you turn from victim to victor because you forgive people for what they did to you or what they could have done for you. And
Right.
that was the biggest shift. And the second shift was later, because that was like a huge milestone of a complete, like we're talking 180 transformation. And the second mindset shift was, um, hold on, I, my train of thought kind of got messed
No,
up.
you're good.
Yeah. The second shift was, I'm forgetting right now. It's okay. We can keep it rolling.
Yeah, we'll keep it rolling. So for a minute, Because earlier when you were talking about your story, and you said that a lot of people, a lot of young girls can fall into that where you were at, on the cusp of making them some bad decisions. And it happens, and it's sad that it happens, but it does. So I guess what I'm getting at is if you were right now, if that girl's watching and she's hearing your story, what would your what would I don't want to sound cliche here, but what would your best advice be in the moment
Mm,
for that person? Because truthfully, God has a way of ordaining things that we are beyond understanding. And so somebody might be hearing this, most likely right now. What do you have to say to them?
mm. Which is also the answer to the previous question. The second turning point is the answer to that question. I have thought about this, I have journaled about this so many times, what I would tell to my younger self, and that is to learn the power of community. Like community is what saved me. That was the second turning point. Moving from our culture wants our women to be so self-sufficient, to be Miss Independent, to not need men, and in consequence to not need other women, to want to be self-made. It's a lie. There's no such thing as self-made. So I would tell her to not be ashamed, to not be shy or ashamed to ask for help. She needs to find the right people. It might not be her family, but it might be. It might be her distant family, or it might be her immediate family. It might be an aunt. It might be a best friend. It might be a teacher. It might be a professor. It might be a neighbor. It might be an uncle. I don't know. Somebody she trusts to ask for help. And sometimes we don't know what to ask for. And it's just a matter of just saying, hey, I'm not doing well. I don't know what I need, but I need guidance. And
Mm,
you might sometimes you don't know what to ask. I didn't know what to ask. I didn't know what was going on with me. I don't know what I was dealing with.
right.
So the power of community is so important for our women, and also our men, because our men, I mean, I've already told you since we started this podcast how much I love what you do, because the majority of my employees in corporate was men, especially in my sales, the sales part of my career was mostly, I had
Mm,
mostly sales employees, sorry, male sales employees. And our men suffer as well. They suffer
mm,
in silence. They suffer having to be strong and having to just be tough, and they don't talk about what's going on, and that leads to burnout. That leads
yeah.
to depression, anxiety. That leads to addiction. That leads to um, self-harm, because
Mhm.
the world expects them to be tough, to be, I don't know, um, showing off bling, and I don't even know. And
Right.
and our younger people, we need community, and we need to remember that we need each other. We need each other. You're not weak if you ask for help. You're not less of a woman or a man if you ask for help. You can still remain independent if you ask for help.
Yeah.
It doesn't change.
Absolutely. I'm 100% with you on that. Community, as you know, I have an online community, recovery community that I started because of my heart, for those that go through struggles and addictions, because I've been down that road. But yeah, my number one thing, that I love that you said that. My number one thing is community. You have to have people around you because the enemy likes to isolate.
Ah,
That's why he attacked
oh,
Jesus in the wilderness when he was by himself,
yeah,
because he knew he's going to be well, Jesus wasn't vulnerable, but the enemy looks for vulnerability like that. And
yeah.
so, so yeah, super awesome that you said that because it's so important. Um, I
Can
would
I
say the
add?
same. Yeah.
No, no, keep going. I thought we're moving to a new.
No, no, I was just gonna say, if I was to add in, so you're talking to that young girl, same here. If I'm talking to that young man, I'd have to tell him, you have to get around like, and actually, let me back up here. You have to be intentional about this too. So, what happened for me at one point was I got around the wrong people. So I knew I
Ooh.
needed to get around people, but you have to choose the right people. That's the key too. See, I went through this shift in the last year, professionally to where I've been learning a lot of good things from a lot of good people that are been in the game for a while that are very successful. And and numerous times over and over, I hear it. If you're going to succeed, you have to be around the people that you want to be like. And so my little plug on that is when you find those communities, you need to find the communities that are edifying. You got to find those communities that are there for you. Church is a great one. I'm just
Um,
going to say it. Church is a great one because
I'm
you, yeah. And so, so yeah, talking to the young men, like you have to, it's disheartening to think about the culture that we're in right now, where it's kind of the norm that, hey, you go out, you grind, you put your head to the you put your head down and you just go, and that's how you become successful, and that's not it at all. And but it's for some reason that's how the culture is right now, and it's like that almost everywhere. It really is. um Not just for women but for men. It's like the enemy has done such a good job at telling everybody that you're on your own. It's just you. Look out for
nobody,
yourself.
nobody understands. You're on your own. And this, which is a blessing and a curse,
Hmm.
it exacerbated after COVID, the self-isolation. And also it is preventing us from sharpening communication skills. Recently, I gave a workshop on a skill that most women we suck at, and maybe men, but I think that's also an issue, a plague over the younger generation. I'll explain where I'm going.
Hmm.
It's women, we, in order to express the satisfaction or ask for what we want, usually if we don't have the right skill set, if we haven't learned this leadership skill set, we either come off as either doormats or dragons, or let's call it how we call it, bitchy. It's either we become bitchy or become doormats, and we don't say, and we assume you should know what I meant. So women, we fall into that category, and especially now younger women, because we don't sharpen the communication skills that we could have and we would have if we are in regular workplaces face to face. People don't know how to communicate, and either they cancel each other out because they're unhappy and they become self-isolated, or they end up lashing out and breaking bridges and burning bridges with people that could have been there for them. So a skill that we need our young people to learn is that, to be able to ask what you need in a way that doesn't break people, and in a way that doesn't remove your authority either, in a
Hmm.
way that doesn't remove your dignity. um yeah, so that's it. Like you don't have to be a
Yeah,
doormat, and you don't have to be a dragon. You can be a leader.
absolutely. So, kind of along the lines of that too. So, with me, I like to talk to men about leadership in an aspect of appropriate leadership. Because you're saying, we can take on these forms of what we think leadership is, or the part that we have to play, right? And there's a lot of men out there that, take the. I'm just going to be honest. There's a lot of men out there that take it the wrong way. A leader is a dictator, somebody that has to come in and take over and do everything, which leads to burnout itself. But understanding that, a leader, and you teach on leadership, which I love, and you could probably add some more to this, but leadership is more of a servanthood. It's what it should be. And so I want to really help men understand that aspect. We know what the church says about leadership and in a marriage and stuff like that, in a relationship, but it's more of a compliment. It's not a dictator, right? And so you, I lost my train of thought now. Sorry. But no,
Talking,
but
yeah.
the leadership is just it's important to understand what it truly is,
Hmm. You
right?
know, I watched one of your videos, I think your recent videos, where you talked about that exactly. And anybody who talks about leadership is my people. And there's leadership in different aspects of life and career. Did you know, before I say what I want to say, did you know that there's actually over 100 definitions of leadership? There's hundreds of definitions of leadership, and that is because instinctively, if you ask anybody what is a leader and who is a leader, we all respond with elements that make what a leader is, but nobody can put fully their hand on what defines a leader. People will say charismatic, servitude, somebody who serves, somebody who does good, somebody who puts others before themselves. These are all multiple elements. So there's one definition that the experts have agreed on, and that definition is that leadership is a social process. It's the mechanism of a social process of essentially helping others towards the same mission, making them go towards the same mission to accomplish, to achieve that same mission. So the reason why those words are important, social process, to influence action towards the same mission, is because you cannot lead just by yourself. That is what's called self-leadership. But when we help each other towards a mission that unites us all, that is kind of like what makes a leader a leader. And again, words like this is a social process. It takes a village. You have to help others, and B, there has to be a mission, a common mission. And usually that's why, we talk about, like, we refer to the father of the family as a leader, because the father of the family, if he is a good leader, if he's a good father, he's leading the mission of his household, which is not only survival, but also to thrive, for his family to thrive, and to raise great human beings towards one mission. So the mission is not just the leader's mission. When it's only the leader's mission, that is when the leader becomes a dictator. It is everybody's mission. It's the good for everybody. Yeah.
Man, I love that.
Yeah. And on leadership, I wanted to say, one point I wanted to add is that, like, I personally don't believe that everyone can be a leader, but everyone can learn leadership skills. There are over 50 leadership skills. The umbrella of leadership is very wide. There's 4 to 5 different dimensions of leadership. So think of them as categories. And leadership skills, like what you're doing now, hosting this safe space, is leadership. Conflict management, conflict resolution is leadership. Communication is leadership. Emotional intelligence is leadership. Time management is leadership. Decision making is leadership. Strategic thinking. So many skills that on their own, they're just separate skills, but all together, that's what makes a leader a leader. And they can be learned. They can be learned, and that's the good news. And they can, once you learn different skill sets, because some of you might be natural, at, I don't know, time management and prioritization. Once you learn those different skill sets, actually, that can help you get out of burnout. That can help you ask for help. That can help you reach out to the right community and maybe set boundaries or burn some bridges with people that do not have the best interests in mind for you. Or to speak up, or to stand up, or to ask for what you need. All of those things can be learned, and they're leadership skills.
Yeah, amen. And you do that. You describe yourself as a people potential enabler. So I'm pretty sure.
I just want to give it to you. You've done like great research, huh?
Yes. So that plays a huge part in this, I'm sure, because you're trying to help people along these lines. So explain that a little bit more, though. Like, I love it. What does that phrase mean to you personally, though?
Yeah, so if there was a job title, I would want that job title. So people potential is, well, the potential of people. And the reason why I say I'm an enabler, it's because I don't create it for you. I just enable it. I ignite it. I draw it out of you. Because I believe it with all my heart and being. Every single human on this planet has potential that is untapped. And it just sometimes takes luck, and it takes the right circumstances and the right people and the right skills to ask others to bring it out of you. And that is what I want to be in this world. And I believe it in my heart. The experiences that I've gone through, what I've been through, and who I am from a young kid, this is my magic. I think that's what God created me to do, to help bring out the potential of people, so that not only can they walk and show up in life as their best self, but that can help them serve others and create good for the world. And I see it with everything I do. Before I started my full-time business, I'm a business coach and consultant full-time. Before that, I was in corporate, like I said, and I've been coaching people for over a decade. At the time, my container was sales. So when I was developing people to be the best salesmen they could be, that trickled down, those skills trickle down, because to be a good salesman, you need to have empathy, you need to have listening skills, you need to have good communication, you need to have patience. Those skills trickle down into their families. And I
Yeah.
had later wives of those same salesmen contact me and tell me, you've changed my husband's life. He's showing up and he's planning things for the household. So in that container, I was developing salespeople. Now in business, I'm developing entrepreneurs to show up as leaders, both first of all as self-leaders to manage their decision making, their thought process, but also to create wealth for themselves, their families, and also the communities.
Hmm.
And and that's why I identify
I
with
love
that
that.
title so much. People potential enabler.
Hey, it's a title. Own it. You got it. It's yours.
Take one.
Absolutely. No, I'm right along the same lines with that. Actually, it's
I
awesome that
feel
you
like you
said,
identify as one. I
yeah,
feel like, yeah, I feel like
yeah.
you.
So right now, a lot of my demographic is struggling professionals, the CEOs, executives, the business owners that go through burnout, right? And one of the reasons why I picked that is that specific reason is they have a lot of influence. So
Mm.
if you can reach this demographic up here and know that you can help them change what they need to change and kind of coach them through that, it's absolutely correct. It trickles down. And so by helping one life, you're helping many. And I saw that like that's what I want to do. So I'm deeming myself a people potential enabler as well.
You are. You got the
The
title.
second.
I'm giving my blessing.
Awesome. So we are getting short on time. I think we're gonna have to do a part two maybe at some point. Because I know we were gonna talk a lot about burnout, but we ended up getting into a lot of other good stuff. And it's been such a blessing to have you on the show and talking to you about all this. I want people to be able to get a hold of you though. So you own Nine Elephants Consulting.
Yes.
Yes. So
The
just
best thing.
real quick plug on that. Like,
Yeah, really, really quick. Um, 9elephantsconsulting.com. It is my website. I offer business coaching, but also social media content creation services done for you, because I had a creative itch and we started a small agency. My magic is coaching entrepreneurs, but people can reach out to me directly. I prefer Instagram. Reach out and send a DM at ione.coach. That handle might change. If it does, we will update the description, but it's
absolutely.
at ione.coach, or you can reach out to me on LinkedIn, Ioni Papadakis. That's it.
Awesome. Yeah, and we'll have all that in the description too, so you'll be easy to find and you'll be able to bless a lot more lives for sure. I love it. So,
Can I say something?
yes, absolutely.
I'm so honored to be having this conversation with you. You are a powerhouse. I saw your work as well. We met on a platform called School by chance, just by discussing. I don't remember the post, but I am so honored to have met you and to be in your world. I love the work that you do for men and for executives and leaders. It is so important. I have so much respect for your journey and your transformation as well. It is not easy. I absolutely love that you are a man of God, and that you lead your family and your clients also through the lens of faith. And the work that you do is so important. And um, you have a fan and you have a friend for life and a supporter. I'm rooting for you. And
Awesome.
yeah, I just want to say, like, how I am feeling as a person who did not have a father figure. I would just encourage everybody listening to go reach out to Chris and get the support they need, not only for burnout, but for guidance as well. I know you have your container and your structure and your framework,
Hmm.
but I am 100% just like putting my money on you. I absolutely
Awesome.
love what you do.
Thanks, Ioni. I love that. I appreciate that. And yeah, I do work mostly with professionals and stuff, but I also have a resilient method that I can take anybody through in any circumstance, and it works. It's such a blessing to help people, and I know you feel the same way. And to collaborate with you is awesome. I look forward to so much more in the future for sure. So
Thank you for
thank you.
having me.
Thank you. All right.